All right, in this recording, I will be demonstrate a couple of examples about how to graph or sketch trigonometric functions. Basically, we just do sine and cosine. It will be another recording. Quickly, I would mention about tangent and cotangent or tangent. Anyways, I am using a system or way that I call 5 points. Okay. Now, before we start on the steps, I first of all need everybody to very carefully look at the two basic graphs. So this is sine, this is cosine. Okay. Now sine, when there's no any transformation, the period would be 2 pi, and the amplitude will be 1, right? So this is a positive 1, and this is a negative 1. So we call this as a max, this is a min. And note, for sine, we have the start point and the end point, and also the midpoint. This is all on the x-axis, means their y value is all 0, right? But for the cosine graph, it is different. The cosine graph, so here is the max. Now here is a max, and here is a min. And we only have 2 points. These 2 points is one is that 1/4, which is pi over 2, 1/4 of the whole period, and then also 3 quarters of the period. They're on the origins, or they're on. So the graph is starting from the max, going back to the max. That's for cosine. Now sine is not starting from the min, but starting from the 0 or the midline, going back to the midline. Okay. Now here the 5-point system that we give them a name called, first of all, we have a tunnel here. What is a tunnel? This is the floor, this is the ceiling of the tunnel. Now here, this is a floor of the tunnel. You see this graph? There's nothing is out of this tunnel. And here, same thing. This is where your ceiling of the tunnel is. And then here is your bottom or your floor of the tunnel is. And nothing else is out. So in this case, the first step, we always wanted to construct this tunnel, because you know that your graph is not out of these 2 lines here. Another line that is significant is this so-called the midline, right? So this is the midline. The midline, as a matter of fact, is your vertical displacement. Now, because these 2 basic graphs, there's no vertical displacement, therefore it's right on the x-axis, means y equals to 0. So the first 2 steps is, first we'll construct the first step, construct the tunnel. Second step, draw this center line. And then after that, we're going to have 5 points. So what are these 5 points? The 5 points is the so-called starting point and the end point. So the starting point and also the end point. And then we would also have this midpoint. So this is our first point. Now this is our second point. Now this one is our third point. And then our max and our mean. So this would be our 4th point. And this would be our 5th point. So if you have these points, then you connect them, and then your sketch is here. Now for cosine, this is our starting point. This is our ending point. And this is our midpoint. See, our midpoint is our mean. And our starting point and our ending point is our max. And then we have our third point here, and this is right in the middle. And then we have another point here, is right in the middle. And oh, sorry, so that should be the fourth one, and this should be the fifth one. So that's our 5 point. Okay. So now I'm just going to use, first of all, a sine graph, a sine function, and the cosine function to explain how we construct this graph. Okay, so now our first step, so let's use blue. So step 1 is our tunnel. Okay, so now our tunnel, our ceiling, our max will be -1 plus 2. All right, so this will be our vertical displacement add on to our amplitude. Now this is 1. Now our mean is same thing, vertical displacement subtract, sorry, there should be 1, -1, subtract our amplitude. So then that is our -3. All right, so in this case, we got that and we got that. And then the second one is our center line. Note, I just said before, the center line is your vertical displacement. So in that case, your center line is y equals to -1. Okay, so why don't we construct this very basic thing here, and then we're going to fill out all the other points. So let me try. So bear with me because this is really difficult for me to use a tablet to try to draw something. Okay, so now I got an x-axis. And I also have a y-axis. Okay. So this is my 1, and this is my -1, -2, -3. So in this case, okay, let me construct my tunnel here. So this is my tunnel, and this is the floor of my tunnel. Great. Okay. And then next is my center line. Okay, should I use a different color? It doesn't matter, probably the same color. Okay, center line, we also say center line, as a matter of fact, same as our vertical displacement. So that's -1, so that's our center line. Okay, so now think, because our sine graph is we start from the center line, end of the center line. However, where is our starting point? Because now we got a shift. So now our shift is shift to the right for pi/6. So now we got to scale our x-axis. So now let's take a look at this. So this is, I'm going to say, this is my pi here, this point, 3.14. And then there's here is my 2 pi, 6.28. All right, so they're just a number. All right, so then in this case, now I started to plug my 5 points. Now my 5 points, the first point will be my starting point, where the cycle start. The starting point is the phase shift. So that right too. So then in this case, I'm going to divide my pi into 6. By the way, in terms of how to scale the x-axis, you look at your phase shift, and you should use this as your decision about how to scale your x-axis, because that is pi/6. So I'm going to divide this pi into 6. So then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. So now here I go. So this where is my pi over 6. Okay, so now remember that my starting point for sine is right in this midline, the center line. So my center line is here. So that means my start point should be here. So my start point, the coordinate should be pi over 6. And then my y's value is -1. Great. So that's my first point. Wonderful. Now, let's take a look at my end point, which is my second point. So my second point now is called my end point. And that is also very important. So my end point, that means I shifted by pi over 6. Then from 2 pi here, I need to shift another pi over 6. So yeah, I can just sketch here. So that's fine. So that's just my here. So my end point for my x value, which would be 2 pi plus pi over 6. So then what is that? That is 13 over 6 pi. Okay, so got it. So now my end point here is 13 over 6 pi, comma, same -1. So in this case, now I got this point here, right on my center line. All right. Okay, so then where is my middle? Well, you can see the middle is right here. The middle is right here, but you can calculate this. So then that's our third point. So our third point is the midpoint. So this is a midpoint. So now here, what does that mean? Okay, well, I probably should use red just for the sake of unification. Unified writing. So my midpoint should be my pi add on to a pi divided by 6. So then that means 7 over 6 pi. So all right, so then this is 7 over 6 pi. And then where it is, see, this midpoint is still, this is on the center line. Center line again is -1. Got it. So then right here. Okay. So then in between, this is from this point to this point, the period is pi. From this point to this point, period is pi. So just right in the middle, that is my highest point. Now right in this middle is my lowest point. But for the sake of calculation, wait, let's get to my fourth point. So my fourth point is my max. So my max now should be this is basically from here to here. You know, pi, basically it's a pi. So it's 1/2 a pi. So 1/2 a pi add on to 1/6 of pi. So that's what's going on here. So what's going on there is this 3/6 plus 1/6 equals to 4 over 6 equals to 2 over 3 pi. All right. So this one here is 2 over 3 pi. And now what is the max here? The max here is 1. Okay, so that is 1. So that is, as I said, that is our point. And then this down here, this is our lowest point. The lowest point is what's going on here. This is basically between this point, which is our just said that is 7 over 6 pi, between 7 over 6 pi and 13 over 6 pi. Or another way to do it is to say it is 3 over 4 pi. That add on to 1 over 6 pi, right? So in that case, and that is 12. So then that's 9 plus, is 9 plus, my mind doesn't work anymore. 9 plus, so then that is 2. So this is 11 over 12 pi. So in this case, now I got my mean. My 5th point is my mean. So then that is, did I do this wrong? Oh yeah, sorry, this is wrong here. That's why I thought this is not right. This is not 3. So this is already at my 3/4 point. This is already 7 over 6. You see, that's already 7 over 6 pi. And then you add on to 1 over 2 pi, because you add on to another 3/4 pi. So in that case, then this one is 5 over 3 pi. So 5 over 3 pi, and then you got a minimum. It is this. All right. So then here you're just going to sketch this. Oh, sorry, I should go. My goodness. So it should go here and here. All right. So then this is your sine graph. So your sine graph is go from here, go to your bottom, and then go to your here. This doesn't go. There doesn't go. So it's go over there. It goes over there again. Okay. So that's our sine graph.